quick update on the Fargo project. Battery box is installed. We got the batteries actually installed inside the box here as well, and they're all hooked up in series. Now this is only the front box, so there's only 20 batteries in there. We got another 12 to go in the back. Haven't started fabricating that box yet, but we have 20 cells up front here. The issue that we're coming up with now is getting the wire in and out, the cables and the BMS wires in and out. And this was the first iteration of trying to get the wires inside the battery box.
Not so successful?
Yeah, it wasn't successful, no. Yeah, we found that the cables themselves actually can't bend 90 degrees very well.
Yeah, too tight of a turn.
Yeah, we ended up having a bit of a failure here. So this idea is out the window. Yeah, so garbage. This we're going to put a plate over the top of this just to cover this over, and I'll end up using just a standard cable crimp entrance, three of them, BMS, positive, negative, and actually I'll take a smaller one as well for a couple of other devices which use the negative terminal of the high voltage battery. We've got the contactor box and the controller mounted on the side here.
Yeah, looks sharp, boy. Nice and clean.
So we got, I got all my connectors down here ready to go. These will go to all the other devices like the DC to DC converter and the charge unit, the BMS and the controller. So those other two units are around the other side here. We'll get to that in just a sec. But right here, this is my, this was the first major cable that I connected there yesterday. That's the main contactor to the positive side of the battery or the motor controller. So we got that done, and then the negative side here on the controller comes straight off the negative side of the high voltage battery here, and that's what I was in the process of doing last night when I broke my little, cable thing. So anyway, back to the drawing board with that one. I'll deal with that today. But yeah, that'll come down around underneath, nice and clean, and come up and meet the controller here. And these three other components right here are the three phases for the AC motor, and those cables will come down underneath and connect to the three poles on the motor itself there, and that'll give me my AC power to the motor.
Yeah, again, nice and clean.
Yeah, be nice. It'll get airflow through there as well, which will be nice for cooling.
And then you got a couple more units on the side.
Yeah. So then around this side here we've got this is the
charger.
This is the charger, 3.3 kilowatt hour charger here, and this is our input there from the J1772 plug, which is inside the truck here. I'm going to have to run that cable all the way under the truck and bring it back over here. We've got some communication contacts here for CAN bus communication between all my devices, and this is the actual connection through the contactor box there for charging the actual battery. This is my DC to DC converter. This is like a little alternator there which keeps my 12 volt, the normal car battery, charged. So that's these connectors there will be hooked up there to convert my high voltage power to my 12 volt power to power my accessories in the truck. Not that there's a lot of them in a 1954 truck, but still, we need headlights. Yeah.
Well, it looks good.
Yeah, so it's coming together, and I just pulled it out right now because I've still got to install these guys. Remember a couple of videos ago we were talking about how wide the Ford axle was. We're a full 4 inches narrower than the factory Fargo axle, which is in the back of a shop there. And so I've got these 2-inch spacers. They're decent quality. I got them shipped out the States. They're hub centric to both the axle and the wheel, so they should be good for nice and stable. And that'll give me 2 inches either side, and that'll bring my wheels back out to the factory Fargo width. So I pulled it out the shop, so I'm going to install those right away, and then it's back to the battery box to try and figure out how I'm going to get the cables in there. But yeah, it's coming along. And I did test fit the front clip, and I was a little tight on some of my measurements there, but I was able to trim
the front clip?
Yeah, the front clip right there.
Oh yeah.
I was a little tight on some of my measurements on that battery box, but I was able to trim just a tiny piece of metal off there, and everything fits like a glove.
Right.
In there like with a shoehorn.
Right on, Brian.
Yeah.